Awesome.
All right. I think we should start by the news of the day. Our beloved greatest player of all time, the most wonderful person ever, who we love so much. Tom Brady is retired today officially. Let's just go around and talk about how much we love the guy and just how wonderful he is. Actually, I say he's a son of the devil. I say he's the spawn of Satan.
That's my nickname for him too.
There you go. Papa Bear, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on Tom Brady?
I hate the man. But you have to give him his due. He's not the fastest. He's not the best passer. He doesn't throw the best long ball. He just has so much experience, and the game was so slow for him that he knew where to put the ball. And so you got to give him credit for that. You got to give him credit for his longevity. Is he the GOAT? I just can't say those words, but there'll probably not be anybody else like him for a very, very long time. So give him his due, but let's not make a gold statue of him anywhere, please.
Oh, there'll be lots of statues of him.
I'm
surprised there's not a statue of him right now in New England.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andrew, go ahead.
I'm so grateful to the man for teaching me that deflating a football slightly makes it easier to throw. That if you spy on your opponent's practices, you can actually figure them out easier. And that Subway is just an absolutely delicious sandwich shop. So I'm truly grateful. I share my father's sentiments. I can't stand the guy. He makes my teeth itch. I am really happy I don't ever have to see him on a football field, except maybe on the sidelines where like a stray run out of bounds takes him out one more time just for old time's sake. But he won the most Super Bowls of anybody ever, so that's got to count for something. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question. I don't think those Super Bowls stand as untouchable as we see them now. A lot of them were closer than people like to remember. The first one was won in a last-second field goal. So I mean, he was a great quarterback, no doubt. Calling him the GOAT, I feel uncomfortable like my father with that one too.
All right, Allison.
Yeah, he is the GOAT. I mean, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I mean, there's really no other GOAT than the GOAT. I mean, obviously different eras and things, but he's the GOAT. And you know what? I hate him a little bit less than I used to when he was in New England. Actually, I live down in Tampa. So when he came here, I was excited for the city because, it was a big deal and the Bucks had sucked for so long. And so it was nice to have him here. I definitely, like I said, I felt a little differently about him, when he started playing for the Bucks and when he did for the Patriots, because, they weren't playing the Steelers. Tom Brady wasn't beating the Steelers all the time. So, and I always said, well, if the Steelers and Tom Brady ever meet again, it's going to be because they're in the Super Bowl. And unfortunately it didn't happen, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. So, but you know what, good riddance. And, I'm sorry to hear Giselle didn't let you play another year.
All right, LeeAnn.
I mean, what can I say? I feel a lot like Andrew does. I feel like a lot of the things that he's done, it's hard for me to not see them as like somewhat tarnished by some of the other things that have gone on. And so is he a tremendous quarterback? Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's also been very blessed to be supported by a tremendous coach. I mean, I think Bill Belichick in New England finds a way. We've talked about this before, that he brings in these athletes and he finds a way to get things done and has the right people surrounding Brady and built that whole team around Brady. And it helped make him very successful. So I feel like some of his reputation is a bit tarnished. I'm glad he's leaving. I'm done hearing about him. And I said this weekend too, we were talking about it, and they were like, somebody was saying, well, there'll never be one better. And I'm like, you know how many times they've said that before about other people? I was like, there will always be someone better. We heard that about Joe Montana. We've heard that over and over again, and there'll be someone better someday. It's okay.
I
Especially
remember
now, because sorry to cut you off, especially now because, the quarterbacks, they don't get hit as much and, the rules are, so much more strict in terms of, hitting the quarterback and things like that. So I think that even played a large role. I mean, obviously TB12 and avocado toast and all that BS, but still it's, I definitely feel like, we'll see another one of these guys someday for sure.
I have a buddy.
Go ahead, Papa.
Go ahead.
He's a Pittsburgh guy too. He's from Mount Lebanon, but he always says whenever we talk about Brady is put him and even put the New England Patriots in the AFC North for 12 years. And does he do the same thing? And does he last that long when Vontaze Burfict and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed are running him down twice a year and beating the living bejesus out of him? It's
a good point.
Is it a little bit different? He spent all that time in the AFC East where they played slap happy ball,
6 guaranteed wins. You had the easiest 6 guaranteed wins, which means you got an inflated record, which means you got like either the 1 or 2 seed every year, which means you got a bye every year, which it was an easier path because you were in a division with cupcakes.
Yep, and in the AFC North, it's 6 guaranteed bloodbaths this year.
Right. You're beating the Bengals, but they're smashing your star wide receiver through the head and giving him a severe concussion and making him crazy.
Right. So put him in a different environment. Does the same thing happen? You don't know, but give him credit for doing what he did in the situation he was in.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to, we really should talk about Ben. Ben, also announced his retirement, and nobody, I don't think, was tougher than Ben. I don't, you could say a lot of things about, greatest this or greatest that, but I think Ben was the toughest quarterback of all time, the most physical, things that he had to put up with, the hits that he had to take. Now, some of them were, of his own doing because he would dance around and move around in the pocket.
Hold on to the ball too long.
Hold on to the ball too long. Yeah. So, some of it was his own doing, but nobody took as many hits as Ben. And Ben was the perfect AFC North quarterback because he was built for cold weather. He was built for, I've heard it said, and I really hope it's not the case that, you got to have Brady have his own year. So maybe let Ben wait another year to go to the Hall of Fame, which would be the most stupidest thing ever. This Hall of Fame crap between baseball and football. It's like, it's just become a joke.
Yeah.
It's happened before. Yeah.
It's happened before, but it's also happened but not with quarterbacks usually, like with wide receivers, if there's like a backlog or if there's like 3 running backs that are getting in, maybe the 4th doesn't get in when he maybe deserved to get in. But I don't think it's going to be a situation like that. If it's just just the 2 quarterbacks, I don't think it's, if anything, it'll make, Canton really rich. You know what I mean? Like in terms of both of them going in the same year. That's pretty fantastic. And plus Brady, do they do it like alphabetical? I can't remember. Like the speeches and things, like technically, Brady would get in after Ben.
I don't think with 2 undisputed Hall of Famers, like
before
we've
Ben,
not had a question about these 2 since like 4 or 5 years ago that they were first ballot Hall of Famers. I don't think the Hall of Fame is going to play politics but I hope they don't play politics that much where they're like, nope, 1 a year. These guys were both like top 5 all-time quarterbacks by the number, but nope, we can't let them both in. That would be dumb.
Yeah, it's just
I can't find it now, but I saw it earlier. There was a list of a couple of different quarterbacks, like years that 2 quarterbacks had gone in the same year, and I can't find it now. So, it has happened, and I agree. I can't imagine them. What a slight. If you're saying somebody's going into the Hall of Fame, you're saying that they're at that level of greatness. Do you know what I mean? Where they're all equally great players. If you would actually come out and say that Tom Brady can't go in the same year as another quarterback, then give him his own damn Hall of Fame and his own show.
Right.
Let him do his own thing. Yeah. How is that fair to anybody else either? Do you know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Well, there's a couple of options here. if he is the GOAT, and we can debate that all we want, waive the 5-year rule, put him in next year.
Sure.
Why not?
And
Sure. Yeah.
and the other thing to consider is, greatness has gone in the same year before. We'll talk stories later, old time stories, but I can remember sitting in Canton in the second row and watching Jack Lambert go in, and then the next speaker was Franco Harris. Same year.
Wow.
Same year.
Same year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got guys of that caliber that come in at the same time every once in a while, and it happens. And I think they've done it in the past. I don't think there's ever going to be, if they both have to wait 5 years, they're both going in first ballot. I don't think there's going to be any issue with any of that. If you want to give Brady his due, waive the 5-year rule, put him in year 3.
Well, you have, okay, so what should happen is Brady and Ben are, first ballot, and I guess this will be 2027. Gronk is probably going to retire too. So, and Gronk is arguably one of the, you could argue that he's maybe the best tight end ever, or he's real up there. So he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So you're going to have 2 of the best quarterbacks ever, plus maybe one of the best tight ends ever. I feel bad for anybody else that's trying to get into the Hall of Fame that year.
Yeah.
Well, he technically retired, like 2 years ago? Like, maybe they could be like, hey, we'll let you in 2025.
Yeah.
I think it has to be 5 consecutive years.
I'm just being facetious.
Okay.
Okay, but let's talk about the future, as the present for the
Dun, dun,
Steelers.
dun.
Dum dum dum. The big question is, how are they going to replace Ben?
Dwayne Haskins.
What do you want to happen, and what do you think will happen? We'll start with LeeAnn. Or who do you not want to see?
Mason Rudolph. I mean, really, I just don't. Do I think there's a good chance that he might end up playing, being our starting quarterback? Sure. I love the idea of seeing Dwayne Haskins. I've said that on here before. We talked about whatever was going on with him and the work ethic issues and all of those things. I really would love to have seen him step up and have like a real shot. I don't know. I mean, I know you can wish for a lot of things, but I mean, think the payout to get those things you wish for is more than I'd be willing to give up. Do you know what I mean? Giving up TJ Watt and some of these great players to get some of these quarterbacks that are already in the league feels like you're shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. And the draft options this year, I don't know that they're going to fall to us. And I don't know that, and there's not enough of them.
Okay. Allison.
Yeah, I just have this feeling what's going to happen is that Mason Rudolph he's going to start. I just feel like he's going to start. Do I want it to happen? No. I mean, I honestly would like to see them draft a rookie, like Pickett. I don't really know much about the college draft class other than in terms of the quarterback, other than they're not great. And I don't know that I feel all that awesome about the Steelers taking a quarterback that's not that great, but you never know. I mean, quarterbacks have gone number 1, number 2, number 3. And
Tom Brady wasn't supposed to be that good.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they've had quarterbacks go like number 1 overall, and they've just, crap the bed. You know what I mean? So you really just really never know. So it's definitely going to be, the most interesting topic, I think, of the Steelers offseason for the last 2 decades, for sure.
Where does
it's going to be really interesting.
Where did the Steelers draft Ben? What was his
11.
draft?
They drafted him. He was 11.
11. Yeah.
Okay.
And they have 16 this year, I think.
20.
They're 20 this year.
Oh, they're 20. Oh, I thought they were higher than that.
No.
What's going to happen? What I think is going to happen? Dwayne Haskins is the better athlete, and I think he beats Mason Rudolph like a drum in camp and wins the job. Outside of that, I don't see the Steelers selling the farm for a high pick. It's just not them. I hope they draft some linemen, maybe DB or something. We got some weaknesses elsewhere we need to fill. And just hope for the best. Maybe we pick up one of those all-star free agents, but I really don't want to be some of the people that are available. So that's my if it's between the guys we have now, Dwayne Haskins for the win.
What do you think, Papa Bear?
I think our quarterback in the future is not on the team yet. Between Rudolph and Haskins might be serviceable for a year, but don't expect a lot. If you look at the draft, Pickett seems like a fashionable pick, but I don't know how much upside is there. The other name that they would talk about was Sam Howell, UNC. I would avoid like the plague. I'm a Virginia Tech guy, so I know the ACC pretty easily. I just did not like the way he managed football games. He, like Mason Rudolph, here and there, place when things got critical.
Okay, now you're fighting with Andrew with the sound.
With the free agent classes, that's kind of not the Steeler way. Unless you can get a young guy that you can still get a lot of years out of. I mean, Aaron, I don't want to have anything to do with him. The guy from the Texans is damaged goods. The Seattle quarterback will never come here. The name that I mentioned to Andy last week and that made him kind of throw up in his mouth a little bit was, if you don't have to spend a lot of money, you get Jimmy Garoppolo. He's better than the two we have on the team now. He's not the long-term future forever. He's not an 18-year guy like Ben would be. But you could get a few years out of him, and maybe you can find a quarterback next year or the year after that you can bring up and then transition him out. But you don't want to sell the farm to get somebody like him. So I think next year for sure is going to be a year of mediocrity behind center. The question is, who's that guy going to be? It's probably Haskins, but I could see us getting a middle range free agent because it's not in the draft this year.
Well, believe it or not, you could actually bet on this. Who is going to be the next quarterback? Here are the odds right now. Okay, so it's a tie between Mason and one of the rookies, either Matt Corral, Kenny Pickett, or Sam Howell. And yeah, I don't know a lot about them either. So those are the leaders in the clubhouse right now. They're at plus 700. Right behind there is Jameis Winston, and I'm telling you right now, that's who I want. Okay? Just real quick, what does everybody think about Jameis Winston?
His mobility's gone. He's got blown knees. I mean,
yeah, and he can't pay. He's not. He's inaccurate.
Yeah.
Besides that,
I don't worry about the mobility as much. My argument is always that Tom Brady has shown us that quarterbacks don't have to be super mobile to be successful. I mean, it's nice, but it's not a necessity. But you have to be able to throw, and he throws for shit.
Yeah, the offensive line. I think that's the biggest problem here. Is I don't care what quarterback you have. You know, Matt Canada gets killed. But we time that offensive line. There is your biggest problem. There is your biggest issue. Is do something about the offensive line. But let's keep going. So right behind Jameis Winston is Jimmy Garoppolo. I tell you what, I wouldn't mind Jimmy Garoppolo, and here's why. Yes, he looked like crap against in the NFC Championship game, but he was really hurt. His thumb was really messed up, and I think he had a bad shoulder too. So yeah, he's not perfect, but I would rather have him and then Mason.
I mean, those injuries right there tell me he's not a Steelers quarterback. That's the kind of stuff Ben played through, and
he did.
He still produced
it.
So Jimmy G is a poor man's Tom Brady, and he's barely even that. So I don't want Jimmy G at all. He can stay in San Francisco and let Deebo Samuel be that entire offense.
And we'd still have to trade for him, and he's due $24 million. So I don't really know. I'm sure that I know there's cap that you can do things with that, but
Right.
the fact that we still would have to trade for him, and he's,
Okay, that's a great point.
yeah.
The
But I mean, a
Steelers
lot of
have
people are bringing him up, so I don't know.
right. But the Steelers they have many holes. They have many needs. What
Mhm.
they don't need is to be giving away draft picks.
Mm-mm.
They need those draft picks. They need as many as they can. So yeah, trading for a quarterback is a really bad idea. So I agree there. Here's the next one, and this one really makes me cringe. Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh yeah, no.
Hard pass.
I mean, he's young. That's all that he has.
He's
What is some
got
other
going
things
for him.
going
he
for
is
him?
mobile.
As the friend of a diehard Bears fan, if he was on this podcast, he would tell us to run for the hills and then dive off the cliff on the other side of that hill to get away from Mitchell Trubisky. Do not touch.
Ironically, the last person on this list is Dwayne Haskins. So the betting Vegas has less of an opinion on Haskins than you do, Andrew.
Wow.
Well, clearly I'm making a lot of money this week, so or whenever
You're gonna
I'm putting some money down.
It's plus 4,000, so you can make a pretty penny if you put some money down on Dwayne
There you
Haskins.
go. Everybody bet on Dwayne.
Okay, well, let's look at what needs to be done. What needs to be done for this offensive line? Who stays and who goes? Papa Bear, I'll start with you.
The one guy, believe it or not, that I liked on that O-line in the last several weeks of the season was Leglu.
Yeah.
I thought he was actually solid and serviceable. And as a Papa Bear of a college football player, I know guards, and he was a solid guard. The guy on the other side, I can't remember his name. One. Yeah. That guy was swinging gate. I mean, he's got to go.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
The center has potential, although the guy that replaced him when he was hurt the last couple of weeks, I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names.
Hassenauer,
I thought did a more serviceable job than the guy we drafted.
I agree.
And we're dying at tackle. So I would go from inside out. If I'm going to draft, I'm going to draft a right guard. Then I'm going to draft a left tackle, move our left tackle to right, and then start looking at quarterbacks and receivers and linebackers. But Leglu, I like. Hassenauer, you said give me the name, I like. Then from there, it's find something in free agency or the draft. Get rid of the swinging gate that was at guard this year and get rid of the guy that was at right tackle. The right side of our line was just getting caved in all year.
All right, Andrew.
I mean, I tend to agree. Chooks, Okorafor, I don't even, he wasn't even starting by the end of the year, was he? Or was that our right tackle at that point? I was barely paying attention. Our offensive line was all over the place. I tend to agree with what my dad said. I think because we picked so late, because our quarterback situation is going to be a hot mess, and really the skill position players on the offense, they're pretty solid. Our tight ends are as good as they've been in years, with Freiermuth and Gentry actually showing up this year. Wide receivers need some work. Najee looked legit, but he was running behind Swiss cheese. So then you get some good young offensive talent in the first round, maybe even the second round, and double down. Who knows what Najee can do? Maybe this offense runs through Najee and the quarterback just has to game manage and throw the occasional play action. Dwayne Haskins can do that. He's got the arm to throw that deep ball to Chase. So yeah, that offensive line wasn't good this year, but there's potential in the two rookies. I agree about Leglu. He looks pretty solid. I mean, he's not an all-star, but he could be serviceable. Get two new offensive linemen in the first 2 rounds of the draft. I mean, that'd be an unexpected move to double down like that, but it'd be a good Steeler move, I think.
All right, Allison.
I sort of feel like we should draft a center. I feel like that's kind of important. Yeah, I feel like we should draft a
LeeAnn
center.
agrees.
I don't know who that is yet, but I want that to be our first pick. It's not sexy, but you know what? Hopefully
Necessary.
he's going to be around, you know what I mean? For at least at least a decade, you know, if he's a solid guy. So that's
Yeah.
kind of my feeling. I mean, Kevin Dotson, hopefully he'll be back. If he can stay healthy, he was
In
decent.
condition. My God.
You know, right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. He was a piece of, yeah. So yeah, they just had a lot of issues, and I don't know, freaking Zach Banner. You know what I mean? Like what? You know what I mean? Like obviously a lot of that's
Yeah,
like what was
that
Mike
just did not
Tomlin, like,
work. Yeah,
did he
Zach
just
Banner did
not,
not
was
work.
he not healthy? Like what was the, you know, what was the situation? Because it seemed like Tomlin kept saying, well, he just wants to play the guys who have been playing instead of, you know, so it was a matter of, is Tomlin telling the truth? Was he maybe just not healthy? You know what the situation is, but I think he still has like another year or two left, I think, with Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I mean, you know, it would be nice to see Banner have success because he seems like a good guy, but you know what I mean? Like if you're not going to, you know, if you're not going to be able to stay healthy, obviously that's a different situation. But yeah, I think draft a center is my answer.
Okay. LeeAnn?
I agree with Allison 100%. I like Kendrick Green, but I like him somewhere other than center. He needs to be moved. That's not his position. I feel bad for the kid. I think he got thrust into that position. I think he did the best he could, but he's clearly not cut out to play. And then, you know, you get annihilated by the fans who are so angry about all the silly mistakes he made. And so I think he's a decent player. He needs to be moved. I'd like to see Zach Banner out there more. I was really excited when I saw he was going to return, and then it was like, wah, wah, like he never even came on the field. So I was excited for him to come back because I thought we're so terrible. Like, why wouldn't you just give him a shot? I mean, can't be worse, you know? So I was shocked that he never even went out there. So I like Allison. I wonder if there's more to the story, you know?
Right.
We got holes to fill.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's quarterback behind those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and you know, the rookies were in such the whole situation was just a disaster. You know, it was a disaster from the first minute. You know, it was doomed to failure when you have like basically 5 new starters at all different positions. You're just doomed to failure. But those poor rookies, they were clearly not ready, and they got thrown out there. And they did what they could. So, I mean, we don't even know what we really have in Kendrick Green. Moore did okay. We'll see. Yeah. Moore was okay. Okay, I'll stick with Dotson, and you have Green, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, right tackle and right guard, you definitely need someone else. So, God, just yeah, please fix it. And you know what? I'm okay with drafting people. Fine, go ahead, draft people, but don't throw them in there. Get some veterans, get some, you know, let them learn a little bit. Don't just throw them into the fire. It's just, you just set them up for failure when you do that.
And the Steelers don't usually, that's the thing. I think they were just so woefully unprepared. I mean, I know Dotson or DeCastro kind of he called it a, you know, he left late, and there's some situation, but still it's like, how can you not, it's like, how can you not, you're a pro team. You need to, you know, I felt like they just didn't do a lot of things that they just needed to, they didn't have any backup plans. I
will defend Tomlin and Colbert to the death, but the thing I do criticize them on is how they handled the offensive line. They did nothing to build up that offensive line. They just relied on the same 4 or 5 people for like 10 years. And then when those people went away, they had no other plan. And that was.
Well, it feels like where we are with the quarterback situations.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we knew we were going to have to replace people like Villanueva and Pouncey and had no backup plan to replace them. And it feels like we're living that again with our quarterback situation. Like,
well, Mason was the chosen one. And how did that work out?
We've known for years that Mason is not.
Right. Yeah. So why? Yeah.
There.
I mean, yeah, that was very curious. So.
And it's Colbert's last draft. I sort of feel like part of me is like, maybe they're going to do something crazy. Like maybe they're going to do something wild. Like maybe they are going to trade the farm for some big name and surprise us all. You know what I mean? Because it needs to be.
What does he care? What does he do?
amazing.
He's not
He
going
can
to be
go out
around.
with a bang.
Right.
But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do your last draft and move to Tahiti.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
The Steelers are gonna draft Tom Brady's kid or something like that, even though he's like 6 years old.
Right.
Nah, that younger Mahomes brother that is always TikTok.
The dancing Mahomes kid. Yeah. We have, with the 20th pick, the Steelers select Jackson Mahomes and Pat Mahomes' wife, who throws champagne on
Hard
people.
pass.
That would be, she's gonna be a wide receiver.
I still think they're gonna draft that Manning kid. In what?
Oh,
like 3 years,
yeah,
3 years.
3
yeah.
years, 4 years.
Yeah.
He's picking a college now or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
What else needs to be done? What else is what is another huge need or a big issue?
What do you think will happen with Juju?
Wow. Here's the thing. If I'm him, I get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
We just spent a good amount of time talking about who's a quarterback going to be, and there's a good possibility it's going to be Mason Rudolph. If you're a wide receiver, you want a good quarterback thrown to you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to want to be catching passes from Mason Rudolph? Yes, Papa Bear.
I think Juju's beautiful trade bait.
Well,
He's not a. We don't have a.
Is his contract up, or I don't know how that whole
Oh,
happens with the whole.
Yeah.
That's right. We had on a 1-year deal, do a sign and trade for him though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sign him in trade.
I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
but yeah, I think like they were talking. Maybe you use him to get a quality offensive lineman somewhere. But I don't think Juju's on the team next year. I really don't. There's something itchy about him and his relationship with the team and the coaching staff, and it just doesn't feel right. That I have a feeling that if we wanted him, we would have already had him signed to a longer term deal by now.
I think they didn't, because they just don't sign. That's the one good thing they do is they draft and develop wide receivers, or at least you think they do.
Right.
But so their feeling is, why are we going to pay a wide receiver big money when we could just draft another one and bring them up and they'll become a star? But that's the thing, though. What is going on with these wide receivers? The wide receivers this year were almost as bad as the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
When Ben wasn't running for his life, he was throwing a ball that was getting dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And, look at these wide receivers. Deontay started out great, and then he got the drops yet another year. Chase Claypool was a mess all year. He took a big step backwards.
Mhm.
And then who do you have at number 3? After Juju got hurt, it was freaking Ray. And Ray ain't it, folks. So I think the wide receivers are almost as much of a mess. There's a lot of questions there.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the other side of the ball where I don't know how much faith I have in Devin Bush holding down that middle.
Yeah.
He did not look great to me this year. I heard Joe Schobert on every tackle, and then Bush on like one in the fourth quarter when they had their scrubs in.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
it's the middle linebacker position is so crucial, and we haven't really had the answers since Shazier's unfortunate accident. But
Well, all you could do is hope, because I really think that the reason why Bush was so bad was because of his injury.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you hope that that's resolved next year. You hope.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, because his 5th-year option is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I
What do you
heard
do?
pick it up.
No.
What's that, Papa Bear?
I was reading Scuttlebutt, one of those Scuttlebutt sites that you see all over the place, and I forget which one it was, that said that there is rumor that the Steelers will not pick up the 5th-year option on
Right.
Devin.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
He was drafted in 2018, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
He was
Yeah, so they have to
drafted
decide in May. I think they haven't.
2018. So they're going to have to decide in May. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Whether to pick up. Oh boy.
Yeah. And
Well,
they say 18
that'll-
months. They say for the kind of injury that he had, 18 months from the time you come back, not
Right.
from the time that you got injured. From the time you come back, it's 18 months at a minimum before. So the fact that like, you know, and I'm talking about mental and physical aspects, you know, of it, you know, I don't know. I think we need, you know, I don't pick up the 5th-year option, but definitely I feel like he needs more time to prove himself.
No, I'm sorry. He
But-
was drafted in 2019.
Oh,
Oh,
So there's still
Well,
some
that
time,
changes
I
it.
believe.
there's still some time.
gotcha.
They still have some time. So, but yeah, that's a big thing. If he's not the guy, and I don't think, do you keep Schobert?
Mm,
I don't know.
I think his contract is a lot. For some reason, I don't know what it is.
I mean,
I
my
feel
fantasy
like it's
football
a
team
lot of
says yes,
money.
keep Schobert, but
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. If we can unload his contract, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's something outrageous. Whatever
Yeah.
it is, I feel like
he
we
deserves.
can get more for
Remember,
trading
maybe it's not that bad. I'm looking now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here is the other question. Oh yeah, his Schobert's base. Oh, he counts. His base salary is 8.75 million, and his cap hit would be 9.7 million. So, and he was the fifth, or he's the 6th highest paid player on the team. So, yeah, it's Schobert's making a pretty good amount of money. So got to make a decision on him. Got to make a decision if you keep Joe Hayden.
Derek Watt.
keep
Dude,
the lots
I'll-
together.
Oh my
Keep the
God.
lots together.
You got it. Yeah, I mean that.
that's
Yeah,
the worst.
Use
that
him.
has to be the
Why don't
worst.
we use him?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
It's hard to even
That's a
blame
good
him
thing.
when we just don't even use him appropriately.
Right.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
when you had problems running and you had
Yeah.
problems, you know, with your offensive line, how about using a fullback to help out with both
Right.
of those things?
Right.
Right. Something creative. I mean, it's just no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah. And then the other question is what's going to happen with Stephon Tuitt. I think he's gone.
weird, yeah.
I think he's done. So, and he was a big
So sad.
habit.
Yeah.
It's a very sad situation. And
Mhm.
he his cap hit was almost 14 million.
Wow.
So, you know, he's making a lot, and so I don't know how that's all going to work out. So there's another need because the defensive line is almost as big of a need as the offensive line.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that. No doubt.
So
Stinky.
a lot of questions. This is going to be the most fascinating offseason. It's going
Mhm.
to be absolute craziness. You know, we're going to be, well, the next big thing is, I believe, in March when the quote unquote league year starts. And I believe, free agency starts and all that stuff. So you have all that, and then you have the draft.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a real interesting next couple months.
Mhm.
Now, Joe, you've got data in front of you. I don't, but don't we have a decent amount of cap room this year?
You have a lot of cap room.
A lot of
Yeah.
cap room.
It's top 5, I think.
Okay, so right now this shows the estimated cap space at 32 million, but I think it's a lot higher than that actually.
Yeah. I
There's a
thought it
lot
was.
you could do with that, there's a lot they could do with that. So yeah, for once they actually, usually they're like right up against the cap and they can't do anything. And
We
this
were
year
really-
they're going to have some space.
We were hamstrung with it last year, big time.
Yes,
yeah.
it really hurt them with the with the salary cap going down and stuff like that. That really hurt the Steelers. So, so that'll be another thing. It's like, are they actually going to be players in free agency and get some free agents? What a cute puppy! What's the puppy's name?
This is Bentley. He is not used to
Bentley.
Hi,
up
Bentley.
during podcast, but my dog sitter, when I was out of town, let him start staying up. So now he thinks he just gets to be out all the time and
That's
rule the
okay.
roost instead
That's
of going
okay.
to bed.
That's what we need. We need more guests on the podcast. That's cool.
Visiting is better than
Oh
barking.
my goodness! It looks like, who's that?
Oh, giving kisses.
Who is that?
He's on mute.
You watching?
That's my grand dog Pearl.
Oh, hi, Pearl. Yeah, so the Steelers have 17 million from 2021 still. I don't know how that even happened.
They can carry over. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have
Interesting.
31 in 2022. So whatever that means, added
No.
together.
All right. Last question. Who's winning the Super Bowl?
I hope it's the Rams. I
Rams.
lived in Detroit for 15 years, and so I'm sort of part of me, part of my heart's with Matt Stafford because he was wasted for all those years.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
I don't think
I'm the
he's
same.
phenomenal, but I feel like he deserved more than what he got in Detroit. That's for sure.
Well,
I mean, with that team, I think he's still like something like 12th in passing overall.
Mhm.
So
Right.
yeah,
And it's the
it was
Bengals.
an unfortunate waste for him to just sit there all those years, especially when he had Megatron. Imagine those two in the
Right.
Rams right now. Oh,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Plus, I just can't bring myself to root for the Bengals.
yeah, that's too tough.
Well-
they are entertaining to watch, and I don't want to play them anytime soon. But
See,
yeah,
A lot of
Steeler
admiration
fans-
for how far they've come.
as Steeler fans, we're not allowed to root for the Bengals, right? That's like the big debate. Is
We
like
need to keep it in our division. I'm like, no, that's not a
Right.
thing.
No, Pac-Man
No, they're
says
the
we're
enemy.
rooting for them.
yeah. Pac-Man
What's
Jones
that?
said we're
Yeah.
not allowed to root for the Bengals. The Pac-Man
Right.
Jones says he doesn't want any Steeler fans on the Bengals bandwagon. Bro, don't worry. Don't worry.
Right.
We're good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll all
All
be
right.
Los Angeles fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I think the Rams defensive line is going to create a lot of problems for the Bengals offense, but I think Aaron Donald is going to have a good day, and it's fine with me.
Works for me.
He has
what
an
they
Aaron
really
Donald
need is
doll
Jalen
somewhere.
Ramsey to show up.
Dump it.
Sorry,
Was that Andrew?
they really need Jalen Ramsey to show up and kind of maybe neutralize Jamar Chase to an extent, because Jamar Chase is and Burrow is just absolute magic, as much as I hate saying that. So if they can't shut that down, I have a very bad feeling about the Super Bowl for the Rams.
It makes me wonder if the bright lights of the Super Bowl are going to affect, but I mean, Burrow's young and Chase is young. I wonder if it's going to affect that team, because I mean, really, the Bengals before this year had no success, let alone a good regular season or good playoffs. And this is all new to them. So who knows how they're going to be? I don't know. But I mean, that Joey Burrow is special. I hate to say it. One thing that makes me laugh is the knock on Kenny Pickett, who was the Pitt quarterback, was his hands are too small. And that's exactly what they said about Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow turned out all right. So, it was funny actually, when Joe Burrow, right before he was drafted, he said, "Oh no, I have to retire from football because they said my hands are too small. Oh no, I guess this is my retirement. Bye." So yeah, it's just silly. You're gonna hear that so often from now until the draft. Kenny Pickett's hands are too small. Shut up, people.
Everybody has something that could be picked apart. Do you know what I mean? And good athletes find a way to compensate for whatever those things are. If you're not fast enough, your hands are small, whatever it is, you're not as tall as other quarterbacks. They find a way to compensate. We've seen it over and over again.
Joe, are you trying to figure out what's wrong with you? Is that why you look like that?
What?
Because you said everybody has something that can be picked apart, and Joe was like, so I thought maybe he was thinking,
Not
I don't
me.
have anything.
Yeah, I'm perfect. What do you? I don't know. What
Over here.
All right, guys. This was so much fun. This is a Steelers party. Hey,
I'm waving my towel.
yeah. Papa Bear, nice to meet you. Great
Pleasure.
job.
Thank you.
Andrew, thank you.
Pleasure as always.
I love
I'll
your
see you, Boba
shirts.
Fett.
Yeah, we got to talk about Boba Fett. Love your shirt, Parks and Rec. Very cool. Yeah, very
Right,
cool.
Pawnee, Indiana.
Allison, You're still writing for Heavy
Yes. Yes, and Steelers Wire.
and Steelers Wire.
Woo.
Stop.
Just riling up the fan base with your
Yeah.
articles. LeeAnn, welcome back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wel-
Thank
welcome,
you.
From
Good to
welcome
be
back to
Exotic
America.
Island with her cabana boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. This is
All right,
awesome.
man.
Thank you.
See
All right.
ya.
See you, everybody.
See ya.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.